Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another video in my January series, and today's video is going to be all about how I minimize working at home. And by minimize I mean almost pretty much negate any home schoolwork. So if you're interested in how I don't work at home, then just keep watching. So I'm going to make this video, I'm going to try to make this video very short and quick, but just to give you a few of my tips on how I don't work at home. And when I say I don't work at home, I mean I don't do any sort of schoolwork at home. At least I try not to. There's obviously times where things like just have to get done and I have to do them at home, but for the most part, day to day, I don't bring work home. I've never done a what's my teacher bag video because I don't like really put anything in there. Like, it's just my lunch pail and random stuff that just like ends up in my bag somehow. But on the weekends I do work maybe 2 hours max. I do try and keep the same though. Many weekends I don't work at home much. I try to really separate my school life and my home life, just because I feel like that, like when I'm home, that's my time to relax, and I don't want to spend all my time at home working as well. I think as teachers it's really hard for us to like shut our brain off and shut off that like work mode sometimes, because there's just so much that could be done. But you have to remember, like, nothing is ever going to be completely done. Like, you will never be completely done with everything, so there's no point in like wasting all your personal time trying to put it towards schoolwork, unless it's something that has a deadline and it needs to be done like right then and there. But if it's just something that can wait, then like just let it wait. So some of the ways that I avoid work are I stay after school, and I also get to school early. I stay between an hour and a half to 2 hours after school each day, and I do get stuff done at home so that I don't have to bring anything home. And then I also try to get to school about an hour before the bell's gonna ring, just so that I can get a lot of work done in the morning. So total, that gives me about 2 hours of work, give or take, each day, just dedicated to like getting my stuff done. I also try to make use of like planning time, my lunch time, my recess time, anything like that. I try and make use of that and make it productive so that I can have less work after school, because I'd rather have that be my time than like my lunchtime be my time. I do give myself like 10-15 minutes to eat and enjoy that, and then I get to work so that I have extra time later. I have also tried to establish a really strict classroom routine when it comes to language arts, math, every subject that I teach. We are on a routine, and I do this because, one, it helps my students just kind of like know what's coming up and understand like the expectation at everything, but it also helps cut down my planning time tremendously. I spend way less time planning because I already know every day we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. Like, there's no extra things that I have to come in and out of. It does get a little bit tedious sometimes, like for me, because I like change. But I know that when I do change things up, it like shows in my students, they get a little bit more crazy, and I just feel like it also takes me way longer to plan things out when I don't just stick to my normal routine. My next tip is to work with your team. If you have a grade level team, or at least like a partner to work with that person to make your life so much easier. Last year, my team, like we obviously worked together, but like we didn't do as much like delegating tasks as we do this year, and I realized how much time I've saved this year because we split up the tasks. So each week I'm in charge of a certain thing, you know, the other person's in charge of a certain thing, and the other person's in charge of a certain thing. We all share it. If I make copies of something, I make it for all three of us, you know, and vice versa. Like, if they make copies of something, they just go ahead and run it through for all three of us, and it saves so much time. If we're all doing the same thing, there's no point in us all three doing it. So I rely heavily on my grade level team, and I know some people maybe don't have that luxury. At my old school, I was the only first and second grade teacher, so I was kind of on my own. But if you do have a team, try your best to use them in some way and come up with a way that you guys can split up tasks so that you're not all so that you're not all working on the same thing. Another thing that I do is, and this is something I've just started kind of recently, is I really try to use the curriculum that I have. I know not every district is lucky enough to have an adopted curriculum, but if you do, like, use what you have, because everything is like handed to you on a silver platter. When you have curriculum, when you have your teacher's editions and all that stuff, the online resources, everything is like done for you. I realized, it took me like 2 months into the school year that I realized I was basically just rewriting and redoing everything that the book was giving me. And I don't get what the point was of me having to rewrite it all. I don't have to turn in lesson plans or anything like that, so it wasn't even for that. I just was like wasting my time when I could just use the resources and use the lesson plans that were given to me. Obviously, I changed things up in my own way, but everything is handed to me. I was making like extra resources that didn't need to be done just so that they would be cuter. I was just doing a lot of extra work that didn't need to be done. If you really like dig around on, especially if you have a online curriculum that has like an online component, or a curriculum that has an online component, I use Wonders for ELA, and there is like still, I've had Wonders for a year and a half now, and I use the online component all the time, and there's still stuff that I find and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, I never knew this was there. And that saves me time later on things that I maybe would have made myself or tried to find on TBT or anything like that. It's just a time saver. Use what's already there. Another way I avoid doing work at home is I don't bring it home. So if you don't bring work home, you can't do it. Obviously my computer's always there. I can do work on my computer, but it's not even like me having to tell myself no. I just choose not to because I don't want to. I really enjoy that time, and I know the days when I don't get that extra time in the evening or on the weekend, I really regret it the next day because I just don't feel like I ever got a break. I'm like one of those people, I really need a break from my job. I need a break from school. And I think some people just like don't let themselves have that. I let myself have that, and I'm not mad about it. I don't feel sorry for it either. I think a lot of people don't give themselves that break, and I feel like that's why you start feeling really stressed. I'm not a person to feel all that stress, and I think that's because I do take like time for myself, and I'm not like, I don't feel bad about it. I know the weekends where I've had to do Saturday school or I've had a training or something, Monday morning comes and I just like dread having to go to work because I never feel like I got that break over the weekend. So just remember, when you're thinking about taking something home, really ask yourself, is it something that can wait, or is it something that needs to be done right this minute? If it comes down to like report cards or something like that, I know that there's time crunches on things, and those are things that I may, choose to do at home. But for the most part, anytime I think about taking something home, I'll really ask myself, like, does it need to be done right this moment, or need to be done by tomorrow morning? And usually the answer is no. Like, if it can wait, just let it wait, because you need to have that time for yourself. And I think it's really important for us so that we don't get that teacher burnout in a couple years of being a teacher. So if you enjoyed these tips, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you have any other tips on how you avoid working at home and how you give yourself that break, then leave a comment down below so that we can all see your tips as well. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe. And if you have any video requests, leave them in a comment down below as well. And if you haven't already checked out the other videos in this series, I will have them in cards probably throughout this video. You probably already saw them, but make sure you check those out too. And I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!